Chapter 14. How was the other guy? One Sunday afternoon, our whole family took a road trip in the car. We were going to Uncle Charlie and Aunt Zella's. I was excited. I liked Uncle Charlie. He always made a fuss over my pretty red hair. He said it reminded him of his daddy's red hair. Uncle Charlie and his family lived in a little house on 127th Street East, just north of Rose Hill, Kansas. Uncle Charlie was building a bigger house just south of where the little one was, on the same lot. You could take one giant step outside the small house and be in the bigger house. My little sister Lonetta and our cousin Arletha played in the living room with their dollies. My big sister Phyllis and my brother Tommy and our cousin Randy and I went out to play. Daddy had told us not to play around the new house. There were nails and a big open hole that Uncle Charlie had dug for the foundation. In some places, he had already placed the floor joists. Every 12 inches was another long board standing vertically from one side of the foundation, spanning across to the other side. Tommy and Randy and I just could not resist. Before long, all three of us were jumping from floor joist to floor joist as fast as we could, giggling and taunting each other. Phyllis stood in the yard and watched. Sure enough, I fell, with my arms whirling around like blades on a windmill and trying desperately to keep my balance. Gravity won, and I fell between two floor joists. I hit face first onto one of the joists. I skinned my nose from the tip to the top, right between my eyes. Both of my knees were also skinned on my way between the joists. I ended up on the ground between the boards. It hurt. It hurt a lot, but I was afraid to call for help. I had disobeyed Daddy. I knew I deserved to be whipped. Tommy saw what had happened and called for Daddy to come help. Daddy stood up on one of the floor joists above me. He looked big and terrible. He reached down and pulled me up into his big, strong arms. Daddy hugged me and said, "You ought to have the worst whipping of your life. I am glad you're not hurt more, but see to it that you kids stay away from that new house." "Yes, Daddy," I whispered. I knew I should have been more careful. The boys and I went away from the hole in foundation and did not go near it again. Mama came out of the house. I sat on the porch trying not to cry. "Oh, honey, are you okay?" Mama said, helping me up. I looked down at my knees. They were scraped and bloody, and one of them had pebbles stuck to it. They burned like crazy. My face was beginning to hurt. I definitely was not okay. Mama gently washed the blood and pebbles off my knees. "Ouch, that burns," I kept saying. Mama was crying. Aunt Zella brought mercurochrome and Mama used it on my knees. That made them burn even more. She kept saying she was sorry, but she had to make sure my knees were clean. Both of my eyes were black and swelled almost shut. Later, I could hear Mama and Daddy talking about what they should do. They wondered if they should take me to Dr. Donnelly in Kingman. That was a long way away, and it was Sunday afternoon, so he would not be in his office. They decided to wait until Monday morning to see what would happen. Mama kept a close eye on me all that evening and kept asking me if I had a headache. Miraculously, I never did. So at bedtime, I went on upstairs to bed. The next morning, my entire face was swollen. Mama drove me to Kingman to see Dr. Donnelly. He cleaned the wounds on my face and both my knees, gave me a tetanus shot. He asked me, "How does the other guy look?" I didn't know what he meant, but he and Mama laughed. Dr. Donnelly told Mama that I would be okay. The next day, I did not want to go to school. I looked and felt terrible, but Mama sent me to school anyway. Sitting in Mrs. Bertrand's third grade class, I kept my face hidden behind my hand. I would not look at the other kids and absolutely would not look up at Mrs. Bertrand standing at the blackboard. Mrs. Bertrand finally noticed and asked me to move my hand away from my face. I did as I was told. Mrs. Bertrand's shocked look made me feel worse. I looked like I'd been in a fist fight and lost. Mrs. Bertrand made me get up in front of my classmates, show them my wounds, and tell them what had happened. I was so embarrassed. Mrs. Bertrand made a safety lesson out of my foolishness. The boys thought my black eyes and swollen face were cool. Like the doctor, they kept asking me, "How does the other guy look?" I've been telling stories since the age of 3, and I'm happy to have published the books of my father, Max, brother Tommy, and sister Lonetta Slusser Knutson. All of our books are published through Amazon and Kindle. www.amazon.com/author/Donnis Crane.